So what's the most important currency in WoW? What can you use to buy equipment, potions, gems, or even game time? Well, gold. Obviously, duh. When you're just starting out, gold can be tough to come by. Like, sure, sometimes monsters drop gold or you sell some items to a merchant in town, but that's just the bare minimum. Maybe you pick up some professions that let you gather ore or herbs or skins out in the world, since someone told you that gathering professions are good for making cash. And that's where some of the difficulties can come in, selling things to other players. But today, I'm going to go over the basics of using the auction house in WoW. Real quick though, I want to talk about WoW's in-game economy and what kind of items you can sell. For the most part, end-game group content kind of dictates the economy. Things like raiding and mythic dungeons. And all items will come in about 4 broad categories: equipment, consumables, collectibles, and crafting materials. And equipment is just stuff that your character can equip. Armor and weapons that characters use, as well as gems and enchants to make armor and weapons stronger. Consumables are items that give temporary buffs to a character, like food or potions, flasks, and runes. Raiders always want the best gear, and they tend to go through a ton of consumables in a night of raiding, creating a ton of demand for those 2 categories. Collectible items, though, are primarily vanity items, which collectors buy to look cool, prestigious, or just to have them for the sake of having them. Things like pets, mounts, or even equipment, like for transmog. While collectibles are likely going to be things that you just find out in the world, consumables and equipment are for the most part created by players with professions. And since a single character can only learn up to 2 primary professions, and there's 11 of them to pick from, there's a need to buy things that your character can't create or obtain normally. And that's how the economy works. Professions are essential to the economy and for making gold, so I'm going to talk about those for a second too. I'm not going to go too in depth, that's going to be another episode. Professions can be split into 2 categories: gathering and production. Gathering professions let you collect crafting materials from out in the world, from things like rocks you can mine or herbs you can collect, or beasts that you kill that you can then skin. Production professions let you turn those crafting materials into items usable by players. And that's where new players and even veteran players can make a lot of gold. Collecting crafting materials with the gathering profession, selling those materials to other players, or obtaining crafting materials and making them into something useful with a production profession. But this is also where it gets pretty intimidating, since the auction house can be tough to navigate at first. But I'm going to show you how to use it. Here's the good stuff. First, you got to get to the auction house, which is going to be in one of your faction's capital cities. Remember how you can ask guards for directions to profession trainers and other people around the city? They can point you to the auction house too. And once you're there, you can start buying and selling items. But first, to buy an item, you gotta find out what you want to buy. If you know the name of it, you can search for it in the bar here, either by typing the name out, or shift-clicking the item in your bag if you want to buy more of something you already have. And if the name is pretty general, like healing potion, which has a bunch of different varieties, this checkbox here for exact match is super nifty. Or if you don't know the name or just feel like browsing, there's categories here on the left, and for equipment, you can narrow down the levels and rarity of the item here. After you found what you want, go ahead and sort by the buyout price by clicking on the column for the prices here. Single items will sort by price, and stackable items will sort by price per unit instead. The window will show the total price of the auction here for stacked items, but if you highlight the listing, you'll see the price per item. And when it comes to the auction house, they're not really auctions. They are, but they aren't. See, the buyout price is the price that everyone uses. If someone pays that price, they get the item immediately regardless of other bids. But if you see something with a super low bid price, you can try bidding on it and maybe you'll snipe it for a low price if no one buys it out. And don't worry, if you get outbid, you'll get your money back. If you do buy something or get your money back from a failed bid, you'll get it in the mail. And luckily, mailboxes are usually within a small distance of the auction house and you'll get the items you buy instantly. And you don't have to buy anything yet, you can just sell things. The important thing is knowing how to search items and find other prices. Before you even sell something, check the auction house and see how much the item is currently going for. Once you know that, you can make some decisions. Go ahead and drag the item here to get it ready to post for auction, and then decide how much do you want to sell this for. And for stackable items, how many do you want to sell and what stack size? Stack size is going to be up to you, and I usually sell in multiples of 20, but for the price you could try undercutting. That's when you find the cheapest price that the item is currently selling for, and then you sell your item for just a little bit under that. Your item will be the first that players see when they search for the item at the cheapest price, making it more likely to sell. This is what I do most of the time when I place auctions, but there's some situations where I won't undercut. Like if I see the lowest price is super low and very underpriced, I'll actually set my price above that to what I feel is the actual market price. And if I'm feeling it, I'll buy out that underpriced item and try reselling it myself. But again, I don't change it up that often. Undercut 99% of the time and you'll be good. As you keep selling things, you'll kind of get a feel for what certain items should cost. Play around that, and you can steadily sell things easily and make a good amount of money. There's a few more things when it comes to selling, though. When you sell stackable items, you can decide when posting it the price of the item or the price of the whole stack. Like if I'm selling 10 herbs that cost 5 gold each, I can either set this so I'm selling the stack for 50 gold total, or set it like this where I'm selling the stack for 5 gold an herb. This doesn't change anything, it's just how it looks, and it's pretty much just personal preference. You can also decide how long you want to list your auctions for. Either 12, 24, or 48 hours. The longer the posting, the bigger the posting fee. Usually this depends on demand and how quickly the item you want to sell can get bought up. And this depends on a few factors, like the time of the day, or even what day it is. Crafting materials tend to sell quickly, and you can usually list them for about 12 or 24 hours. While some items like pets or transmog gear might not be in such high demand, so I'd list them for either 24 or 48 hours. If you sell the item though, you'll get that fee back. And finally, when someone buys something that you've listed, there's a few things to be aware of. First, when it sells, you don't get the gold immediately. The gold will come in the mail like before, but there's about a 30-minute delay between when you get the item sold notification and the gold arriving in your mailbox. And second, the auction house takes a 5% cut of your sales. Usually that's not a big deal, but if you're buying something just to resell it, make sure to take that into account. And that's about it for the basics of using the auction house. It looks intimidating, but it's really not. The hardest thing, I think, is just finding the price to sell your items at, so just make sure you search the items before you sell them. Overall, the WoW economy is pretty fun to mess around with if you really get into using the auction house to make gold. And that's where things like add-ons, spreadsheets, and sites like the Undermine Journal can come in. But that's all another episode. The best thing to do though isn't to look for some magical get gold quickly method. That kind of stuff doesn't work. The best thing to do is just play steadily, sell items, and have a cash cow. Something you enjoy that's stable, easy, and just lets money flow in. And that can be all kinds of things. Ores, herbs, or skins from gathering professions, equipment and consumable items made from production professions, or even collectibles you can get every so often, like transmog gear or pets from old raids. My personal cash cow has actually been fishing and cooking, two of the secondary professions, and I'll talk more about professions in another episode. But I just really like going out and fishing, or gathering ingredients, or finding some cheap ingredients on the auction house, cooking up some food, and then selling it to people that are raiding or running mythic dungeons. I've actually paid for my WoW subscription the last 2 months using gold instead of real money, so it seems to be working out pretty well. So just go out, find your own cash cow, and have fun using the auction house.